Hey everyone, welcome back to Bike Community Motors. So we're back working on the Ruckus, and in the last video of this I did the 171cc big bore kit, and now my starter, which was getting kind of tired, is struggling to start the bike. It will start it. I haven't gotten it stranded or anything like that, but you hit the button and it just and then finally goes. So I'm going to be putting in a high torque starter as well as the upgraded starter clutch. And while I'm in there, I'm going to also go put in a high flow oil pump. So let me get you a closer look at what all the parts that we're going to be installing, and then we'll jump right into it. Alright, so here's all the parts I've got. First off, we've got the new high torque starter, which it's already black, which I like because this one up here was brass. This is a upgraded ground cable for your starter, which I've been meaning to do for a while, which might actually make the other one perform better, but kept dragging my feet, but doing it now. Picked that up from Matt at Rolling Wrench, so thanks Matt for hooking me up with that. Also got the one-piece upgraded starter clutch, new gasket for replacing the one we're going to take off, and then since I've got to open up the side of the crankcase to get this in there, I'm going to go ahead and put in a high-flow oil pump from Koso, since I've got the big bore kit too, and then also magnetic drain plugs. So first thing we got to do is get the exhaust and fan shrouds off, and yeah, so let's jump right into it. Alright, so I did end up having to at least pull off this hanger for the exhaust because it was mounted to the front face of this case cover. So now, see, this one pulled off. Sometimes you gotta take a dead blow hammer or like a rubber mallet and tap on it till it gives, but this one came out pretty easy. So it's a good thing I got a new gasket because that one just shredded. Alright, I'll set this to the side on a paper towel. Got some dripping oil everywhere. Okay, now I can drip over there on the paper towel. And that's why I was saying like to drain your oil, because otherwise there would have been oil all over the place. More so than I got. Alright, so you gotta be careful with this little gear because it's held in by a spline that actually had stayed into that case. Push that back in there. And now to get this off of here, this is the excuse me, the starter clutch. You have to get a special tool. That is for taking off. Let's see if we can get this to. See, it's the nut in there is just round and it's got 4 different little slots in it, so you need one of these guys to go into it to drive it out. So yeah, this just slides over the crankshaft and lines up into those 4 notches. Alright, oh, right in the oil. So that is reverse threaded. I couldn't remember if it was, so that's why I did it a couple of times here and there. I'll have to fish that out of there, but now you can slide off your starter clutch. The washer there, don't forget to grab that. Alright. And that's the old starter clutch. And it's actually like a multi-piece design, as you can see. Kinda. But the new one is all in one piece. Alright, so here you can see it with the clutch and everything pulled off. And underneath this little metal cover is our fuel pump. So to do that Koso one, I just need to take these 2 8mm bolts out real quick. Like that, and try not to drop it in the oil pan like I did on the last thing. So yeah, you can still see how much residual oil is kind of just building up down here, but now pull that out, little gear guy, and then I'll pull this out, just get it out of our way. There we go. Now you can focus on a little bit. You can see there's just the 2 Phillips that I need to get out now. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then pop the new one in. Alright, so I got those 2 Phillips heads out. Make sure you don't strip them because that would be a major pain if you did that. So now that those screws are out, oil pump pulls right out. Here. And then the new Koso one, this guy here, and it comes with hex head bolts, which is nice so I can get rid of those Phillips ones. Alright, so she's tightened in there. And now, this is the little gear that came out of the old one. And then there's the shaft. This shaft came with the Koso. And it's actually a little... Try to take it back. It is the same length. Nope, it's slightly different. It's a little longer, so I'm going to get that bolt taken off. And that guy there. And get that little shaft switched over real quick. So, back in a second. Alright, so now we got the fuel pump in there with the 2 screws. It's time to put our chain back on. So as you can see here on the crank, there's actually 2 different sets of sprocket or teeth. We're gonna go on the inner one. And the sprocket and the shaft here do have a flat on them, so you gotta line that up. Now we've got our chain back on there and sprocket back on and everything. Now we just need to put our little splash shield back on here, and then slide the clutch on. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and in a second. Alright, so splash shield's on. Now your clutch, it does go with the proud side. It goes in, and there is a shaft, a key. Just gotta make sure to line that up. Like so. And then also this upper gear. Bam. Then we'll slide our washer back on that was on before. And then where did I put the weird little thing? Oh, that's right. It's in the oil. I dropped it in there. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Alright, I fished it out. And if you look, there's a rounded side, and a flat side. The flat side is what's going to go against your starter clutch. I think I said it, but if not, reverse threaded. Alright, with that we got our oil pump, our high flow oil pump installed, our heavy duty starter clutch. So now I'm ready to just throw this all back together and then switch out the actual starter itself. So let me get this closed up and see you in a second. Alright, I got this all put back together here. And if you look, you can tell this is new. This is an 18 pole stator that I'm beta testing for Matt at Rolling Wrench. And if we can get this thing proven out, this is what he's going to put in his new wiring harness so that everyone can get an 18 pole stator. But one thing I wanted to do here before switching over to the other side is I need to get that magnetic oil drain plugs put in here. So this is just the old stock one. I got this one here where you just take the magnet and you drop it in there. Straight. And then your spring and your oil filter just go right there, and then it gets pushed back up here. There. Once you get it started, then you can just tighten her down. Alright. Now I'm just going to get the cooling strap put on, the exhaust hanger, and the dipstick. And then I'll be back on the other side and we get that starter swapped out. Alright, so now it's time to replace the actual starter. And it's actually fairly simple, way easier than the other stuff we were doing. Because you only have one power connection here and 2 screws. That's it. So I'm going to get those undone and get that starter out of there. Alright, so now that I got the wiring all done and the 2 screws out, you just grab it and wiggle it. And just like that, she's out. And then the replacement one does have a cable on it already that I gotta pull off. We won't use it for our application, but nice they send that. Alright, and then replacement is just the opposite of... Excuse me, installation is the opposite of removal. So we're just gonna slide her into place here. Keep wiggling it. Now screw it back together. Alright, so one thing I almost got ahead of myself on is this ground cable we gotta get added on here. Pull it through like that, and then it's just gonna go to one of the ground studs here. Alright, so now the not as fun part, just running that cable all the way up to the battery box. So I'm gonna do that, and then we can try starting this thing. So we went ahead and got the ground cable ran all the way through the bike and up to the battery box and attached to the battery. So now we're ready to test it. So let's see how this new high torque starter and starter clutch treat this 171. Awesome. Alright, so this new high torque starter and starter clutch started this 171 easily, which is awesome because before I'd hit the button and it would just go. I had to hit it numerous times until it finally had enough whatever to turn over the engine and get it started. So, but we also, since we did that, we added that Coso high flow oil pump, which gives us 20% more flow, which is good just to keep everything lubricated. So, yeah, good to go on the bike now. Super stoked. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. So I went ahead and got the ground cable ran all the way to the battery hooked up. So now, how old am I now?